now I understand. The older I'm getting, even though being 36, I'm having sex with multiple souls and all this stuff, and their stuff is coming in on me. So then now they're coming on me, in me. I have to deal with this stuff. What is going on with myself? And then I had to realize, Allison, it's okay if your daddy, or even if you never get closure from the men or from your daddy, they never talk about it. It is okay. But you have to deal with yourself.
Who am I as the woman? I am radical, relentless, and real because I am on a mission to heal the souls of God's people. I am a spiritual leader, a life coach, and an author. But most of all, I am a warrior fighting for my legacy. I face so many challenges, shares of betrayal, rejection, abandonment, all that left me wounded mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. Yes, life left me broke, busted, and disgusted. But despite all those odds, divorces, emotional damage, as well as despair, I did the work to heal my soul so that I may birth forth miracles and live prosperously. I am not new here. I grew here, and now is your time to grow. I am Dr. Dunamis Dee, and I am here to guide you on your journey of healing and transformation. Well, here we are, you all, for another podcast, Healing for My Soul. And we are talking about this entire season, healing from the betrayal, the rejection, the abandonment. I just think that those are three deadly swords that come to really take away who we really are and destroy His miraculous power that is living on the inside of us. So today I have a special guest, someone who is definitely dear to my heart, but is not unfamiliar with you, and you're not unfamiliar with her. And that is the one and only firstborn of mine, Allison Fuller. But we're going to get into some dialogue, you all, not just because we're going to talk about healing from the pain of abandonment, but we're going to really talk about it from a perspective of how I literally, as a mother, not only saw the healing from the pain of abandonment, but had to contribute to her healing from the pain of abandonment. It's a forever work. It's never going to stop until I am gone, and I'm going to live for a long time, because there's always more and more that we got to do as mothers. So I want to dedicate this to all the mothers who have children, particularly daughters, because it's no joke raising a daughter, particularly when the father at one point have abandoned them. So Allison, are you there?
Yes, I am.
Talk up. Come on now.
Yes, I'm here.
Because we healing from the pain of abandonment. Yeah. It was some work, Negro.
Yeah, I didn't think I had abandonment issues.
How you didn't think that?
I don't know. You get so used to dealing with everyday life, and until you really see, that's the thing with healing. Until you really heal yourself, you realize, like, dang, I messed up.
Yeah, I could have told you that.
I mean, I thought I was fine. I thought I was perfect.
Yeah, but you know what? You wouldn't see it though. You wouldn't see it because we grow up for it to be our norm, and you don't know anything differently until you have gotten into some other relationships that you feel abandoned, other things that have happened in your life, relational wise, and you sense the rejection or you feel the rejection, and it keep hitting you and keep hitting you and keep hitting you until you really deal with the root of how it developed and how it came about. You know what I'm saying? So I was just talking to when we were in therapy, and I was telling the therapist when you and I, Ariel, was in our therapy session about some things he ain't got to try to figure out. You know, because, you know, when you with a therapist and they don't know you or whatever, they digging deep and they going, because they gotta get the story. Yeah. They got to get the story. And I was like, oh, let me spare you about 20 minutes, okay? Because I could tell you the story. I could tell you because I was there. I could tell you because I was engaged. And so I'm here to let you know, and I could tell you, and I could tell you, and I could tell all of you all that it started the day that he left, when he was strung out on the drugs. And so that abandonment, not because of just that, is because of how you were really held close to his chest as a baby, that made you feel so secure in the arms and on the chest of the Father. And so as a man having his own bouts, you took that subconsciously. Now we all talking about subconscious as an abandonment when it really wasn't abandonment.
Yeah.
He just had to go away to deal with his own pain. He had to go away to deal with his own stuff of what was causing him to be hostage, but it was never inflicted upon you directly. And what we do is we take that personal. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
That's I want to deal with this in a way that we can really understand it, because it's real. And when we're dealing with pain, we take it personal. So talk about that from yourself.
I mean, that's one thing. As I got older, even dealing with my own daughters and with their fathers or daddies going through their own bouts as men. And I'm like, why? But now I can understand their pain. Because like you said, it was subconscious. I didn't know.
It's subconscious, yes.
I don't remember when I was 2 weeks old. I don't remember when I was 3 weeks old. I don't remember none of that.
You don't remember the day I brought you home?
Yeah, I don't remember none of that.
But how do we remember, y'all? Go ahead on.
So the only thing, it takes me looking at my own to be like, okay, well, let me identify with their pain. And I think it was one time you said the little girl is raising little girls. So that's where I'm like, okay, well, we can't be 2 little girls or 3 little girls in here. Somebody got to grow up. And as much as I want to pop
right now, it look like Christina growing up, and she the 4-year-old. But go ahead on.
So the 4-year-old looking kind of looking bleak for the 16-year-old.
Right.
So I'm like, which one am I dealing with here? So it's like, okay, one of us got to be a woman about it. So it's like between both of them, that got to be me. So I'm like, okay, well, this is how I can deal with it. But then it gives me a different insight to nurture them better. And more. But then also, even Genesis being 16 years old, I can tell her, call your daddy and see how he's doing. Because I understand him as, I'm not a man, I don't understand a man, but I understand him as a man.
That's right. That's
Where
right.
it's like, okay, Genesis, call your daddy, see how your daddy doing. Did you ask your daddy just how was his day going?
Yeah.
That's why in a sense,
that's healing.
Yeah, that's why I tell her, because sometimes people ask me, I don't want to talk to my daddy every day. You know, my daddy at the house with 2 dogs. I know what he doing every day,
right.
But still, I just call my daddy to see how he's doing. Like, Daddy, are you okay? How's your day going? What you do last night? What you eat last night? Now, do I want to go back and live with him? Hell no. But it's just a phone call. Just
it's a
to
phone
see, because
call.
he's still a man. And I can't doing that to him is still dealing with my abandonment and my rejection.
Because that's bringing healing.
And my betrayal is healing myself.
It's healing yourself. You know what I'm saying? So really what you're saying is that to heal from the pain of abandonment is really just to go another step that you don't really have to go.
Yeah.
Do a little bit, something that may be minute to others, but it could be major to you.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Because to him, it's just a phone call. So I want to ask you all this question out there. What can you really do? I mean, just to take some quality time to call somebody that you don't really want to talk to. Because that healing from the pain of abandonment can just really say, it ain't about healing them, it's about healing yourself. I just called to check on you. I just called to see how you were doing. You know what I'm saying? Because when you have been abandoned yourself, you know what other people need to hear. Ariel, can you believe it's almost 2025?
It is. And I am so excited because we got something.
It's time to get alive at our event.
Yes, the Healing for My Soul Live.
Yes.
I mean, can you just imagine all the things that you're learning on this podcast and what this will be if we're all in one room, like live, in-person experience healing?
So we want to admonish you all to come. Get with us live because it's going to be explosive. Ariel, give them the details.
Yes, well, you can learn all the details while you watch this episode. Go to www.healingformysoullive.com and get registered to come meet with us in person to experience a healing that you will never, ever, ever forget. One thing about being online, but it's a whole other thing when you're in person. So get registered and get back to this episode.
Yeah. And now I'm at the point, me doing that with the healing part, God forbid if something ever happened to him, I'm at peace with it. Not saying I want anything.
Oh,
but
no, that's a life.
I'm at peace with it because I've dealt with a lot of stuff. People die unknowingly, and we like, well, we haven't dealt with our stuff. Where I can say, you know what? I've called my father to say, how are you?
Yeah.
Are you okay?
Yeah.
That's where the conversation comes from. So it's like, if anything happened, God forbid, I am at peace with
Yeah,
it. Because
yeah.
he gonna be, he gone. So
And,
he at peace.
and you know, healing from the pain of abandonment is really a proactive measure of grief. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people, first of all, don't process and know how to process grief because of the abandonment that's there. And then the second thing is when they don't even know how to process it and something happens, now we think we're grieving, but we're living in regret. Mm-hmm. I regret I didn't do this. I didn't regret I'll do that. I regret I'll do that. So it's a proactive measure to bring healing to your heart. It's a proactive measure to bring healing to the places of your soul that you don't have to even say, "Ooh, let me now go and do with this and deal with that," because actually, after some things happen, you ain't gonna have time for that. Does that make sense? You gotta find your way to your next. You know, I'm reminded of this this movie that we were watching, Life After Prison. You know, but I don't know if you saw that movie, but it's on Tubi.
I went to sleep.
Yeah, but the point of it is that it was a lot of fathers and men who were struggling, you know, to regain their life, you know, after they had spent it in prison. But it was this one particular daughter who her father was an alcoholic and he had abandoned her, you know what I'm saying? And so when he came out, she was like, "I don't want to talk to you. I don't want to talk to you. I don't want to talk to you." And it was really doing something to him on the inside because he wanted a connection with his daughter. He had already served his time. And so the point of me saying is that so she ended up, you know, wanting to talk to him and to see him and make some resolution. Yeah. So then the police officer came to her house, and so she reverted right back into that soulish realm. And he was like, "Ma'am, I'm here about your father. I don't want to talk to him. I don't want to do that." But he really came to tell her that her father had passed. Mm-hmm. Then she went into this, the soul. The soul will cause you to vacillate emotionally when that abandonment is there because you don't know who you are. You don't know how to respond to life.
No.
You understand what I'm saying? You don't know what to do. But after you have not only just been abandoned by the father, but abandoned by this man, that person, this woman, this, whatever that may be, it causes you to find yourself. Mm-hmm. So how did abandonment cause you, Allison, to really start looking at yourself? Because I know you got tired of it.
These men. Hence why I got 2 baby daddies looking for a third one. So that's these men. So that's why I'm like, I have to figure out what's going on.
In you.
And I have to figure out what's going on in me because now I understand the more I'm the older I'm getting, even though being 36, I'm having sex with multiple souls and all this stuff. And their stuff is coming in on me. So then now they're coming on me. In me, I have to deal with this stuff. What is going on with myself? And then I had to realize, Allison, it's okay if your daddy, or even if you never get closure from the men or from your daddy, they never talk about it. It is okay. But you have to deal with yourself.
I like how you put it is that you're not having sex with men, you're having sex with souls.
Yeah.
And all the stuff that's in their soul. They dumping it on you. They're dumping it in you. Abandonment dumped in abandonment. Does that make sense? Yeah. It will cause your mind to be what? Fill in the blank.
Because I'm dealing with their stuff. And I don't know where half of the stuff come from. Mm-hmm. So I'm dealing with their stuff. And the more, like I said, me being pregnant, understanding the science of being pregnant, that their blood is in you for them 9 months, and it take you 2 years to get your body back.
And by that time, some people had another baby.
Thank you. I got this man blood in me and this man blood in me. I'm not getting another man blood in me unless I know he's purified.
But that's real though.
Yeah.
That's real. I'm just mesmerized about how, you know, it's awakening you. I mean, you know, it's like I'm not looking at you as my daughter right now. Mm-hmm. I'm looking at you as a woman who is really learning, who is really developing, and it took some shit for her to really get it. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. As a mother, we can get frustrated or worry or pray, or when they gonna get it, when they gonna get it. But you gotta go through it to get to it.
Yeah.
You gotta encounter it to come out of it. You got to feel it to face it. Mm-hmm. I need y'all to put that in the comment right there.
And you have to become aware with yourself.
You got to be aware, but you got to feel it to face it.
And you know what's funny? My first baby daddy told me, one thing he told me, he will always say, to be aware is to be alive. And I never really, but it's like everywhere I go, I always say that to be aware is to be alive.
And to be aware of yourself.
And that's
It's to
really
be alive within yourself.
Yep.
Yeah, it's to be alive within yourself. And so you really, really talk about how you're now aware. Now, you ain't fully there because all of us are steadily growing.
Oh, I ain't there.
But as long as breath is in our body.
Yeah.
The thing is, you could be breathing, but yet dead. Because you're not coming alive, because you're not aware of yourself. So how, after all these years and multiple souls that you have been with and encountering their shit and their abandonment and they this and all this, how has that made you become aware? Because I think it's the best thing like sliced bread.
Hey, are you listening to this episode on Spotify or Apple Podcasts? Well, guess what we want you to do? We want you to leave a review. Comment down below. Tell us how you are liking it. Share. Give us all the stars for this podcast because we want so many women to know that this is the podcast for them. So don't be afraid. Give us the real deal and leave us a review and then continue to keep watching your episode.
The way it made me become aware is I just got to the point I'm tired. Like, it got to the point where I was like, you know what, God, if you take me, just have your way. Take me. Just make sure the girls are straight.
He ain't gonna do that. He's straight with you.
I know he ain't gonna do that. I'm like, God, you ain't ready for me yet?
No, because I said he ain't ready because I ain't raising your kids. So you ain't. No,
I mean,
he ain't ready for you. Go ahead.
that gets to the point. That's a part of where, like you say, you get tired, tired of being tired. So that's where I was at. I was tired of being tired, and then I'm like, okay, and a lot of women in this day and age, we looking for our men and my man and kings and this and that, but really, are you a queen? So I had to sit back and be like, Allison, are you qualified to get a man? Because as soon as a man do something to you, you gonna bust him beside his head. So I had to ask myself that.
Are you qualified? Because you know they coming with something.
Yeah, they come.
You know they got something.
And we want them to deal with our stuff, but we don't want to deal with their stuff. So I'm like, okay, well, how can? And then now I'm at the point I'm too busy raising kids right now. I ain't got time for a man. Then when I tried it, he was crazy. So I'm like, let me go back and deal with myself some more.
But it goes to, I think that when we have been abandoned, we go through those bouts. And then we have to come to the place of not just being aware, but say, I got to accept me. You know, like you said, well, I don't think that we want them to deal with our stuff because a lot of us as women don't believe we got stuff.
Yeah, but I'm talking about in this generation.
This generation, the generation the generation that's coming, the generation that ain't here yet. You see what I'm saying? Because it takes a lot. First of all, we have a lot of things in this world to cause us to cover. It's a lot of cosmos. You know what I'm saying? As opposed to women of old or even women of my time, we didn't have all these things. We could go and work and didn't have to have a degree. You know what I'm saying? We didn't have all these things. We ain't had this social media stuff. We ain't had none of this stuff. We just did what we did and kept on going. So it's so many things that can cause us to think something that we're not when we are when we're not. So to accept yourself is the biggest thing that you can ever do. And to accept yourself, you got to be aware of yourself. You got to be aware of your own mess. You got to be aware of your own internal struggles. You got to be aware of what really happened, that you got to face it. Where in the hell is all this stuff coming from? And it's coming from the pain. The pain of abandonment. But you're healing from it. And I'm saying it, you ain't healing from it. Let me be clear. Let me be very clear on this. You're not healing from it because you're sitting on a church pew.
No.
You're not healing from it because you're going into a therapy session. You're not healing from it because you got this nice office and making money and driving your nice car. You're healing from it because you keep encountering the same shit. And it get worse and it worse. It's like a pile of dung. At first it was a little, then it's here, then it's here, and it's here, and it's here. But at the end of the day, you got to go. You got to face it. You see, people's own stuff will show you your stuff. People's pile of shit eventually will show you your shit. As the old folks used to say, and my growing up is, just keep a living. Keep going and doing what you want to do.
And that's what I told this one young girl. I said, the way my process, it may look the same, but my process is different from your process. Like I told this one girl one time, I told her, I said, figure out how you like your coffee. Don't try to make my recipe, because my recipe may not be good to you.
No.
Figure out how you
I don't want your
coffee.
recipe.
Figure out how you like your coffee.
Yeah. But the thing is that I can and I'm just speaking because I'm not your peer, I'm your mother, but I'm a woman. Mm-hmm. And that's the beautiful part is because woman always is who I am. Mm-hmm. Mother is who I need to be. Mm-hmm. And so if I recognize who and know who I am as a woman, I'll know what I need to be for you, when I need to be for you, when I ain't going to be for you, and that's still needing to be. Does that make sense? So because I understand out of abandonment and healing from my own pain of abandonment, the best thing somebody can do is leave you alone.
Yeah. And
that's what we don't like to do. We as people who have been broken and abandoned ourselves is always trying to fix somebody else. And this is what you ended up doing is not attracting a man, you attracted projects. Mm-hmm. You needed a project to fix. Mm-hmm. Because when you get a project, then you don't have to see your own mess.
Yeah. And I think that's even as mothers, even though
that's hard
Genesis
as a mother.
Is 16, I have to let her go through.
Oh, you ain't experienced nothing
I know
yet.
I haven't.
Come on, that's okay.
I don't want to. I ain't ready for it. Mm-hmm. But I see a lot of mothers, even your age, where I gotta be this for my kids. I gotta do this for my kids. I gotta do this. I gotta do that. I gotta do that. And I'm like, let her be. Well, I gotta work to pay this and pay that.
But you gotta know incrementally. And this is healing from, because you're talking about my granddaughter, who is your daughter. Mm-hmm. You see what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, I have to be who I need to be for you so you can be who you need to be for her. Mm-hmm. But also, too, you have to know the timing of healing from the pain of abandonment, the timing to step back, the timing. I was on your behind riding you like 40 going north at 16 because I saw how all those souls, does that make sense? And nowadays, it ain't just souls. See, when we talking about souls, we ain't talking about gender.
No, it's men and women.
We talking about souls.
Dogs and cats.
Souls. Does that make sense?
They got a soul too?
No, they ain't got no soul like these folks, the creatures that God made. So the thing is that nowadays the abandonment come from one soul. It can come from a young lady's soul to try to heal another young lady's soul. This is why they think they're a different name than what they are. Does that make sense? But you have to be aware of the darkness of this age. You got to be aware of the wickedness that's coming even the more. So I see it because as it comes to you, then it want to try to penetrate your daughter. You see what I'm saying? But you got to know the timing. When do you step back? When do you pray? When do you shut up? When you pray always. Does that make sense? And so if it ain't taught you nothing else, the pain of abandonment taught you how to what?
Pray.
I can't hear you. Let me hear it. Let me
Pray.
hear it. Let me hear it again.
Pray. P-R-A-Y. And I pray in silence. I don't have to do all that. No, I know some people be like, hook 'em a shot.
Prayer is the heart. You ain't see. That's the whole point. Because when you've been abandoned, you try to be like somebody else. Mm-hmm. When you have been rejected, you compare yourself to somebody else. When you betrayed, you think less of somebody else. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. So at the end of the day, you got to know who you are, whatever your way is and your method is, because at the end of the day, it's nothing but communion. And so it taught you how to pray, even the fact of opening up your mouth and going into the recesses of your heart. Prayer brings healing from your own pain. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. But you had to go through it to get to it.
Hey, do you enjoy watching this episode in the visual, the video? Well, guess what? You can see it on your big screen if you just download the Dunamis Woman TV network to your Roku, Amazon, or Android TV. Yes, watch this on the big screen with your family, with your friends, and enjoy watching this episode. And you can download the app and watch it on the go too. But we want you to see it on the big screen so that you can watch this entire episode with everyone that you love in your household.
I am grateful for every Negro that came into your life.
I'm not. Why would you say that?
Because he was an answer to my prayer. He was an answer. You don't always like the way prayers are answered, but at the end of the day, the answer is there.
Well, we need to get on the main line with Jesus. You need to figure out a different answer.
No, but did it get you? I didn't pray, oh, God, do this, to that. Because sometimes, particularly, and I want every mother to hear this, Because first of all, every mother is a woman. And you can't preserve them from nothing that you couldn't preserve yourself from. Because if somebody couldn't tell you nothing, then you can't tell them nothing. You just got to pray. If you encountered somebody whose soul was damaged, they're going to encounter somebody's soul that's damaged too. You just never think about it that way. Sometime when you are praying, things get worse in our own eyes, but it's getting better in God's eyes. Because he knows how to keep you. Are you still here? Mm-hmm. Are you still standing? Mm-hmm. Are you growing? Yes. Growth don't come without pain. Healing doesn't come without pain. I go to that gym, my doggone thighs is hurting right now, but I ain't gonna work no muscles without having some pain. I'm not gonna lose some weight without going through some processes. Mm-hmm. Hunger is a pain. So the pain of abandonment had to be healed through the way that God showed needed your recipe. Some recipes may be similar, but at the end of the day, it's still cooking the food that it needs to be done for you. Mm. At the temperature. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah. Now, I need you to really, let's have a moment now. Because think about it. Think about the last soul that came your way. And you didn't think that it was going to bring up the healing that it brought up. You didn't think it was going to lead you to the healing.
Nope.
So there's so many women out there like you. There's so many mothers out there like you. Look at me. Why'd you look it off?
I was looking at the camera.
You ready to speak to him?
No, I'm just listening to what you got to say.
There's so many who don't want to face it, but they done been with some folks that they deem some souls that it did good for them, and they don't realize it. Mm-hmm. Speak to them. Speak to them about healing from the pain of abandonment.
I don't even know where to begin. So, from the pain of abandonment, I know it's lonely. It's a lonely journey. It's a lonely process because we getting older and older. We're trying to find our person. And it's at the point we got to find our person is ourselves. We got to find ourselves. Once we find ourselves, our person is going to find us. Mm-hmm. The main thing, like I said earlier, to be aware is to be alive. And I'm ready to live, but I got to be aware, or I'm just a dead soul walking, waiting on my grave, and I ain't trying to go. So hopefully that helps somebody out.
Well, you ain't trying to go. At the end of the day, you can't go. Because all of us got to come alive. All of us have to be aware of our true self. Your true self is not a perfect self. Your true self is not a holy self. Your true self is not something that you think is all wonderful. Your true self has some good. Your true self has some pretty. Your true self has some bad. It has some ugly. But at the end of the day, it's all you. I do agree to be aware is to be alive. And all of us have been abandoned. So I do want your healing to start. I want you to become healed in the areas of your soul that you don't even think is real, but it's there. Take every lesson, take everything that life brought your way and say, what can I do with it to make me be aware of me? Don't shift the blame. Don't think about nobody else. Think about yourself. Because as a woman myself, I am grateful. I'm grateful for every soul that not only came into my life, but entered into my life. And I'm grateful that it showed me. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for that. So I want you all to continue this healing journey. I am Pastor D, and I love you all. Healing is truly, truly, truly the children's bread, and it's truly a lifestyle. All right? To be aware, remember, put it in the comment, is to be alive. I'll see you on the next episode.